studio, Rahim, with Eddie Hearn, right here in front of Madison Square Garden, New York. It's becoming your second home. Triple G says the same. This is your first fight with Triple G.
Yeah.
How is this promotion going to be different from what we've seen from him before?
Well, I mean, we teamed up, 6-7 weeks ago, so hopefully you see more bums in seats, you see a little bit more exposure this week. I think really this is about winning this fight. You know, obviously it's a chance for him to become a two-time middleweight world champion. We've got a few of our guys on the card as well. The undercard's really good, but all that really matters is winning this fight, and I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a tricky fight. I think Derevyanchenko is coming absolutely pumped up to the nines to try and win this fight. Stylistically, I think they're going to gel wonderfully, and we're going to see what Gennady's got left in the tank. You know, a few people, I just done an interview over there, someone said, you know, a lot of people saying he's deteriorating. I said, on what basis? You know, well, I said, well, I believe he beat Canelo twice. Second fight was close, granted, but he didn't show any signs of deterioration in those fights. This is the kind of fight that will show us how fresh and how ready he is, and the pressure is on him really to make a statement, because of course, you know, he doesn't want to talk about Canelo this week, right? But the only way you make that fight is for the fans to say we demand that fight, and the only way you do that is to produce a performance in the Garden and on the zone that makes everyone go, we want that fight. So that's the pressure. Firstly, winning, you know, he's got to win, but winning well would be fantastic.
You know, I talked to him last week, and he's a lot less interested in unifying those belts than he used to be. Yeah. For good reason. I think he's learned the business of boxing can be a little more complicated than he thought.
That's what happens. I've got the same question about AJ over there. You know, will he be going for the? You know, once you take a loss and maybe you start realising that the belts are great, but really maybe they don't matter as much as you thought they did. So really all that matters is winning, taking the right fights and looking after yourself, you know?
Well, with Canelo not looking to be so keen on that third fight with Triple G, and Triple G talking about making money and legacy, you're in a unique position to maybe make some fights that might even turn out to be more interesting than a Triple G Canelo third fight. You obviously Demetrius Andrade and Callum Smith.
Billy Joe Saunders.
Oh, you know the names. You're familiar with these guys.
Because I start thinking, you know, look, we've got three guys there who we work with: Demetrius, Callum, and Billy Joe Saunders. People aren't queuing up to fight those guys, right? So what do you do in that situation? You stick them in with each other. Do you know what I mean? I actually believe that one of those guys, at least one of those guys, will get either the Canelo fight or the Triple G fight in the first half of next year, right? But if they can't, they have to fight each other. So Billy Joe against Demetrius Andrade is a really good fight. Callum Smith against Billy Joe Saunders, unification fight in the UK, is a really big fight, you know? So like you say, like Gennady against Demetrius, you know, like these are big fights. So we can't wait around forever, because ultimately the only person that's going to decide whether Canelo fights Triple G is Canelo. So he's going to do what he wants to do. That's why you've got to put the pressure on. The public have got to put the pressure on, but that only comes with great performances.
A lot of people are not keen to fight Billy Joe. Some people are more likely to want to fight Triple G. Now, what about, do those guys want to fight Triple G? As Triple G talked about, because as I read the comments, a lot of fans think that Triple G wants no part of Billy Joe Saunders. That fight was supposed to be made ages ago when it could have been a unification bout. And Demetrius Andrade always seems a bit frozen out from the round robin of belts. So what's the situation there? How do we make those fights? Who wants who?
I think the situation is all those guys are willing to fight each other. The deal's always got to be right. The circumstances always got to be right. No, but when you look at it, Callum Smith is a 168 champion. So is Billy Joe now. So Gennady has the opportunity, if he wins on Saturday, to become a two-time world champion. Demetrius Andrade is a world middleweight champion. So in that respect, there's a unification fight to be made. And you know, look, I think Gennady's made it very clear he wants Canelo. But if he can't get Canelo, he wants all those big career-defining fights. He doesn't want to go through next year just having defences of his title against, you know, voluntary guys, you know? So he'll be ready for all those guys, and I believe all those other guys will be ready, because they're all at the stages in their career now where they start talking about legacy. They start talking about the final couple of years of their career, and Demetrius hasn't had a career-defining fight yet, right? Callum Smith has against George Groves, but he's still got a lot more to come, you know? So I think that those guys are ready. This is a point in their career where they don't want to let those career-defining nights pass them by.
And for Canelo's sake, it's hard to criticize a guy who goes up 2 weight division and faces a boogeyman and a champion. But what do you think of him making that decision? And talk to me about how you see that matchup going.
Well, I thought it was a smart decision. You know, we know that Canelo's not the fighter, Alvarez is not the fighter that he was. Even Kovalev, third time lucky, is not the fighter that he was. But he's still a dangerous fighter. And you know, you have to respect Canelo because although he hasn't given us the Triple G fight, his 2019 has been Danny Jacobs and Kovalev. It's not a bad little 2019. So we hope that in 2020 he gives us Triple G and Demetrius Andrade or Billy G. You know, that's all the mix. They're all there for him. You know, when you talk about that 160 and 168 mix on DAZN, we've got everybody. You know, at 147, PBC have got everyone. So it's very easy, really, to make those fights. You know, like it's easy for the PBC to make Paul to Spence. It should be easy for us to make Canelo against Callum Smith or Canelo against Demetrius. So that's what we got to do.
And to that point, Porter Spence, I think, delivered even better than people. It was an anticipated fight, but talking about 2019, a lot of people are calling that fight of the year. I'm certain you saw it. What'd you think?
I thought it was a really good fight. I thought both guys did well. I thought PBC and Fox did a great job promoting it, especially with the crossover from Fox and, you know, the cross-network promotion. Very smart, very powerful what they do. Similar to the Sky Sports model, really, with the football and, you know, Sky Sports News and stuff like that. So every time there's a great fight or a great event, some people are bitter about it if they don't do it. I embrace it because it's great for boxing. You know, anyone that watched last weekend will want to watch boxing again this weekend, right? So when there's hype, we need it to deliver as a sport because you can't keep hyping things and then they don't deliver for the fans. Spence Porter delivered for the fans, and now I would like to see Crawford Spence as with the world, but we won't get it for now.
Did that change your opinion of how that fight might go?
It did, actually. Yeah. I think Crawford's the favourite. Yeah, and I felt Spence was the favourite. I think Spence is struggling at 147. You know, I think that he's a big guy. He's always been tight at the weight, and now he's in a situation, you know, where he's going time and time again. He made some very interesting tweets on the Sunday saying, "Oh, I'm never blowing up in camp before," which means that he put on a lot of weight and struggled to make the weight, you know. So, listen, he's a great fighter, Errol Spence, and a lot of big fights to come.
Well, we're talking about fights that should be easy to be made. Let's talk about some fights that have proven to be difficult to get made. I just talked to Deontay Wilder. He says that the Tyson Fury is trying to settle that, like that's confirmed, that's done, that's happening. But I hear Tyson Fury saying, well, if he wants me to step aside, you know what, maybe I'd rather face Joshua than him. Joshua, assuming that he can't get the victory in December, is talking about, well, wait, and then maybe I'll face one of you guys. Now where are we at with this round robin?
There's no round robin. It's just December the 7th against Andy Ruiz. You know, that's the only thing that matters. You know, Deontay Wilder had his chance for the undisputed fight, and he never talked about it then. Now all of a sudden, he's talking about that undisputed fight. You know, don't worry about that. All he's got to do is try and beat Andy Ruiz. That's all that matters right now. So that's the biggest fight of the year. We hope it's the best fight of the year, but the world will be watching, and everyone will be on the edge of their seats to see who is victorious and becomes the king of the division.
While I was there, I ran into Leonard Ellerby.
Mate, what did he have to say?
He said you were fucking stupid. In reference to even making the Ruiz fight in the first place, of course you don't want your fighter to lose.
Yeah, but it's great, isn't it, right? So you make a fight like Ruiz-Joshua, one, everyone goes, what a joke. Right? Oh, what's this joke fight? It's another gimme fight for Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz wins. Oh, Eddie Hearn was mad taking that fight. Like, well, he should never have taken that fight. It's like, look, when you make world-class fights against world-class fighters, you can get beat, and he got beat. At the end of the day, Joshua got beat. He's got to try and beat him again. You know, and it's weird that you get to a stage where you lose. And then you're in a fight that's 5 times bigger. You know what I mean? So people just love to see great fights. People love to see anticipated fights. And Joshua Ruiz is one of the most anticipated fights. If people like Leonard say that we're stupid, but what does he want me to do? Just make fights that AJ can never lose? Well, that's not good for boxing, is it? You know? So.
I don't think another promoter criticizing a promoter is all that shocking, but in these months, everyone has that question of everyone, what they think of Joshua and all of that. Have you been surprised at all at how much negativity it seemed like people were just waiting and everybody knew already?
Because everybody wants Joshua to fail. Everybody wants Matchroom to fail. Everybody wants the zone to fail. Ask yourself why. One, because these people that are criticising are fucking useless. And number two, they got nothing going for them. So they look at this monster, you know, and people are so happy that he lost. Oh, Eddie Hearn's not got the control of the division. Oh, Joshua's don't worry about it. You should want people to do well. You should want people to achieve success, and it'll come back to you. But there are too many haters in the world, too many haters in the sport. But this is just the world we live in, Rahim. I'm sure it's the same in your industry, where there's these reporters and fucking he's got that report, I've done more views than him. Oh, it's just life, isn't it? But it always surprises me why people hate on people so much. Like, you should want people to do well. Because if you're comfortable in yourself, and you're comfortable with your job and your brand and your business, you ain't got to worry about nothing, you know?
And lastly, I didn't get a chance to talk to Joshua last time we were at a press event, so I've got to ask you this question. I noticed he got a tattoo on his middle finger, and he's known for being such a diplomatic guy. Even after the loss, people thought he was too diplomatic. But over this course of time and all the things you're talking about, the haters and all the negativity probably was unexpected, has it changed him a little bit? Has it made him a little, is there a chip on his shoulder now that maybe wasn't there before? Is he a little grittier fellow than he used to be?
What, by having a tattoo?
Well, I'm just saying a tattoo on your middle finger might be an indication. I don't think he would have got that before.
I think he's learned a lot about himself and about life. And, you know, Josh is a very, very bright individual. You know, one, he's a very honourable man. Two, he's very intelligent. Three, you know, he knows about the world. He knows about people, you know. And I think he's noticed that there's been people who have supported him who might not be there anymore, you know. There's been people that he's realised were happy that he suffered a defeat rather than sad, you know. Again, that's life. Sometimes a loss or some bad times can shape your life and make you stronger. And we hope this is what this does as well. To be a great heavyweight, look at the great heavyweights of the past. Very few don't get beat, you know? Whether it's a big upset, whether it's in a defining fight, it's how you come back from that. And I know that we have a very determined anti-Joshua in this fight. The mindset in this fight is totally different to the first fight. You know, that was arrive in New York, we go to ESPN, so Deontay Wilder fight, Tyson Fury, it's like, guys, we're going to talk about Andy Ruiz? No, well, that's an easy fight. By the way, the same easy fight that everyone's now saying, should never have taken that fight. Right. So, like, the truth is that things slipped up because Andy Ruiz boxed really well and took a chance, and probably he was overlooked, and probably everybody else was talking about Deontay Wilder, and you got beat. So what are you going to do about it? You're going to brush yourself down, you're going to go again. And that's what Anthony Joshua does. He's a winner. He's a winner in life. And I believe he will win on December 7th.
Well, let's assume for the sake of this discussion that he does win on December 7th. Your point in coming here on was it December 1st?
Yeah, June 1st.
June 1st, was to establish him as a global champion and star, to make his debut in America. I suggested you have the rematch here. We'll talk about that later. You're not doing that. So is Joshua now a regional champion, a regional star? How do you accomplish that original goal?
A global star. I mean, you've got, you know, how can you go from fighting in America and losing to fighting in the Middle East in a fight 5 times bigger? Like, so his stock has risen even in defeat. We didn't want to lose, we wanted to win. But you can't lose again. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. To the same man. To affect that stock.
But how do you win here? How do you become the thing?
You know, it's not just about performing here. That's important, but it's eyeballs. You know, the whole of America is going to be looking out for that fight and seeing what happens. So it's not just about where you fight. His profile has been grown significantly in the States through his fight on June the 1st. Unfortunately, the result wasn't what we wanted. But it's very important that he returns to America at some point and fights. Whether that's a unification fight, whether that's Ruiz 3, whether that's, I don't know. But, you know, again, like, I can't even tell you the focus right now, December 7th. Like, I keep giving these interviews and I'm not even, like, you're asking me these questions and I'm not even really engaged because we made that mistake before, you know? Like, we talked about the future And this is why, like this week with Triple G, he don't want to talk about Canelo, right? He wants to worry about Sergiy Derevyanchenko because he see the mistakes that people have made in the past. And it's not that Joshua was arrogant or sloppy or didn't prepare well. It's just very difficult to get yourself up for a fight when everyone's telling you, oh, well, this guy, you're going to steamroll through him. Like, and when's the Wilder fight? And that's what happened. He came, he hurt him. He thought Deontay Wilder's made a good impression against Brazil. I'm going to go and close the show. Crash, bang, wallop, crash. All of a sudden, your world's turned upside down. You know.
Radio Rahim with Eddie Hearn. Thank you for the time as always. Here in Madison Square Garden, Triple G, Derevyanchenko this Saturday night. We'll see you Monday in London.
Yeah.
Radio Rahim with Eddie Hearn.